Ahoy, and welcome to Crossdresser Cruise Lines. I'll be your captain, Miss Rice Cake. Welcome aboard. Imagine there was actually a cross-dressing cruise lines. Is there one? I don't think there is, but imagine. How cute do I look in this hat? Well, they're gay cruise lines, but that's not the same. I am your captain. Ooh, oh my god, it was getting hot under there. Hey everyone, it's me, Ramon Rice Cake, and welcome to my channel. First off, I just want to say I hope you're all having a fabulous day, a great night. Whatever time it is that you're watching my videos, I hope I can send you some good vibes. Let's talk cruise ships. Have any of you been on a cruise vacation, or worked on a cruise like me? So if you don't know, a little backstory is that I used to work on a cruise ship with one company for 3.5 years. Oh, those were some of the best years of my life. Cruising is undoubtedly one of the most fun ways to travel and see the world. You're literally cruising from port to port, city to city, almost every day or every other day. You're seeing a new place, and you're literally awestruck the entire time that you're on like a week-long cruise or a 10-day or even a world cruise. I've worked one world cruise and it was 111 days. Is that crazy? 111 days on board a cruise ship. Now, I was a worker, so like, yes, I'm mentally prepared to like live and work there and be there all the time. Working on a cruise ship, one of the first things I notice is how poor I am compared to a lot of other passengers, because some of these people are so fucking rich. Some of these passengers decided to up and leave their place, their apartments, their houses, just to stay on board for like, what is that, like 3 months or something like that? 4 months. We're not gonna get too much into the cruising details, although if you do wanna know more about my cruising history, my job on board, then please let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I could do more videos talking about me on a cruise ship. But we are here to specifically talk about cross-dressing, gender fuckery on board a cruise. Woo, woo, woo. Now, I remember the first time I cross-dressed or went out as my femme self on board a cruise. I was in my early 20s. It was the first cruise I ever worked on, and it was for a themed crew party. Now, if you haven't been on cruise ships, or for those of you who have been on cruise ships, you can back me up here because you know that cruise ships love to throw a good themed party. They do everything from white party, 80s parties, 70s disco, rock and roll, everything. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, the cruise ship and the cruise line that I worked for wasn't necessarily a LGBTQ specific ship. Because you know there are gay cruises and stuff, but those literally only happen a few times a year. The ones that I worked for were just like the generic ships, like all those huge cruise lines that go all over the world all year long. So it was mainly a lot of heterosexuals. I say it like that because there were so many of them. And of course, me being my queer femme self, you know, I don't necessarily feel like I fit in with most crowds, and especially with the passengers, because it was mainly an older crowd as well. So a lot of these passengers love the classic music, classic movies, and all they want to talk about is their grandkids, and it's kind of annoying. So yeah, working and living on board the ship was, you know, it was a bit tough just to try to navigate. It was a hard thing to try to find my people, and that's something that I like to tell like younger gays is like, you gotta find your people, you gotta find your folks, you gotta find your chosen family, and I think that's so important in your day-to-day life. I didn't mean to talk about cruise specifics, but I guess I kind of have to in this regard. Each cruise ship is kind of different. Like I've worked on a cruise ship where there were only 400 crew members, and then the last one I worked on had about 1,500 crew members. So it very much varies. So it varies from cruise to cruise and contract to contract, and you never really know what you're gonna get. You don't know what to expect. So I mean, that is part of the fun, you know, once you step on board. Who am I gonna hate? Who am I gonna love? Who am I gonna crush on? All of that is so exciting. So anyway, day-to-day crew life was very much work, 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 travel, 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 and eat, eat, eat. Oh my god, you eat so much when you work on a cruise. Just be prepared to not fit in your pants that you brought. Going back to the first time that I decided to show my femme self, my drag self, my whatever you want to call it, it was for a crew party called ABC, Anything But Clothes. And that was such a fun theme because you had to show up to the party with anything but clothes. So people would wear garbage bags or pillows, or they would make something out of boxes, or you could wear anything you want. You can wear anything but clothes. So what I decided to wear was my bed sheets, and I just kind of made it look like a dress, like a toga type of thing, because it was easy. So I remember this was my first time dressing up in my cabin. I was so scared and nervous. This was a time where I didn't really wear that much makeup yet, so I didn't discover foundation or eyelashes. None of that stuff. I think I literally just wore like a red lipstick. I think I smoked out my eye a little bit and maybe a little bit of blush, and that's it. Threw on like a shake and go wig, and I just shook my ass at the party. I remember when I stepped foot into the crew bar, and it was kind of cool because everyone was so dressed up and wore crazier things than me that they didn't even really know that, like, oh, maybe he does this for fun, or if he does this regularly. They just thought that, oh, this is just like a fun, funny outfit. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to be all fierce and sexy and hit on all the boys. I remember at this crew bar, they had a stripper pole and a little bit of a raised stage. And so of course we all took turns like on the stripper pole. I think I have pictures of it. I'm definitely gonna insert that as well. So the reception was so good. I had such a great night. And of course, nights like that encouraged me to want to do more. And I did. Now I would only really dress up for the crew side, the crew parties and stuff. I didn't really want to show that side of me while working and to the passengers, because I was fine being my boy form for the passengers, you know? And not everyone needs to know your business as well, you know? Part of the fun of being fluid is that being a boy is so much easier. You just throw on some shorts and a t-shirt and you're good to go. And also, not everyone needs to know all of your business, you know? When you present yourself a certain way, people will have all the questions for you and they want to know everything about you, right? Or some people just give you dirty looks and want you to fuck off. Now, of course, being as bold as I am, there were a few times where I did dress up in front of the passengers. Of course, I definitely had to pick and choose what events would be right for it. For example, crossing the equator ceremony when you do Australia, New Zealand, and they do this whole spectacle of different characters, and like there's is it Neptune, who's king of the seas? Is it Neptune? They do all these characters of the sea, and I think I played some kind of big boobed fairy queen. I don't even remember what it was. There were a few times where I did this. One of them, they wanted me to be like really funny looking and big boobed and like just really silly, and then there were other times where I was like, you know what, I want to look good. And so I tried my best to like look nice and pretty. And I remember a bunch of passengers after the show were like, can we take pictures with you? Now, of course, there's Halloween as well, and I remember dressing up and hosting a trivia and a game show. So I worked as a cruise event staff, if I didn't mention that before. And so sometimes the singers and dancers and my team would get together and we would have to work on certain shows and certain events and parties. So the singers and dancers and the event staff worked together on this pantomime, and we put it on for Christmas, I believe. Now for this pantomime, they casted me as the sexy genie. I think it was a genie. I don't know, I was some kind of like mythical fairy creature, and it was so funny because obviously it was for Christmas, and there were a lot of kids out there watching the show. I remember once we finished, they got to meet all of us and take pictures with us, and they asked us a bunch of questions. I remember specifically a group of kids looking at me and being like, "Are you a real girl?" Like, they really just did not know what to think of me. Which I'm just like, I find that so endearing, especially when it comes to kids, because it's just like they don't know any better, and they also don't judge as well. They're just there to enjoy the show. I think all that matters is that I intrigue them and entertain them, and that's what matters most when you're performing in a show. So this video is getting way too long, way longer than I expected. I didn't think that I would have so many stories, but when I think back down memory lane, it's like, holy, I did so much during those 3.5 years. So if you want to hear more stories like this, please let me know in the comment section down below, because you know, I did meet my first boyfriend on board the cruise ship, and he accepted me and loved me for being gender fluid as well. So there's that whole story. Oh my god. I also didn't even really get into like dating on board, hooking up on board, certain stories that I have just with me dressed up. There's so much. Honestly, my cruise life feels like a whole other lifetime ago, but it's so nice to remember it this way. If you've made it this far, help your girl out. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Leave a comment for me down below. Do you want to hear more cruise ship stories? Cruise dating, cruise hookup stories? Please let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!